Dr. Diabolical's Cliffhanger is a B&M dive coaster at Six Flags Fiesta Texas. While dive coasters have been done several times, this one's particularly noteworthy. 1. It was the first to have a beyond vertical drop. 2. The pre-boarding experience has theming on par with the Universal Park. 3. This is the first time Six Flags has worked with B&M in nearly a decade. Do all these factors make it a great ride? Find out in this review of Dr. Diabolical's Cliffhanger. From 1990 to 2007, Six Flags was arguably Bolliger and Mabillard's #1 customer. During this time, they built 27 B&M coasters at their parks across the globe. This included a wide range of models: hypercoasters, inverted coasters, stand-up coasters, and floorless coasters. This rapid expansion was incredible for coaster enthusiasts. Six Flags was acquiring new parks and adding multiple large coasters, sometimes to the same park annually. But this drunken sailor spending led to the chain going bankrupt in 2008. From this point forwards, they've been a bit more frugal spenders. The only B&M they had built since then had been X-Flight at Six Flags Great America in 2012. Did B&M decline in quality? No, not in the slightest. The issue was their cost. B&M coasters are premium products. They are highly popular coasters with high throughputs and uptime. Throughout the 2010s, Six Flags had a goal to add something new to all their parks every single year. They took a quantity over quality approach. They are prioritizing more frequent, less expensive additions over big B&M coasters. Recently, there has been a shift in focus by Six Flags to reconsider how they add additions. One of the biggest beneficiaries was Six Flags Fiesta Texas. After much speculation, this park announced they would be adding a B&M dive coaster for the 2022 season. And honestly, I'm surprised Six Flags did not add one of these coasters in the early 2000s. They seem right up their alley. The giant first drops with a holding brake are a spectacle. The rides basically market themselves. If you're unfamiliar with Fiesta Texas, this park is located in a rock quarry. Multiple coasters go above the wall and dive back down. Iron Rattler is the best example of this. One of the biggest pipe dreams in the enthusiast community was for Fiesta Texas to add a dive machine over the quarry wall. It seemed perfect, and you'd think that would be the case given how this coaster has Cliffhanger in the name. But unfortunately, that didn't happen. To the park's defense, it sounds like they did look into it, but logistically, it wasn't a fit. While enthusiasts did not get their dream location, there was an unexpected surprise during the announcement. This would be the first B&M dive machine to feature a beyond vertical drop. And spoiler alert, those extra 5 degrees do make a difference, and I'll note that later in the review. While the coaster doesn't go over the quarry wall, the ride still has one heck of a presence. The midway and queue line runs adjacent to the layout, so you can get some great vantage points of the coaster from all sides. And as you'd expect with this model, the signature drop is on full display. The ride has black track with red rails and yellow supports. The latter two colors are faded, which was a nice design choice. It helps the ride fit into Crack Axle Canyon better. This area originally opened with an entirely Western theme, but it has gotten a steampunk facelift over the past few years. This coaster skews more towards the steampunk vibe like Daredevil Dive, but the color palette helps tie it back to the Western area and giving it a somewhat aged look. Audio also plays a big role in the coaster. Dr. Diabolical screams at riders before both drops. This audio can be understandably heard on the ride and in the surrounding area, but it's actually so loud you can hear it from the parking lot. While this coaster doesn't have the signature roar of the early B&Ms, these speakers more than try to compensate. Then the coaster and area also has snippets of an epic musical score. It's a little touch, but it does so much to the overall presentation and helps elevate the ride. Now let's talk about the most shocking thing this coaster did: the queue line. Fiesta's recent additions have gone above and beyond in this area. It is beyond anything you'd expect from a Six Flags park. For example, the Pirates of the Deep Sea Dark ride has an animatronic in the queue line. Poltergeist was updated to have a screen with an apparition effect. And Joker Carnival of Chaos sends you through a funhouse before boarding. This makes the pre-boarding experience an integral part of the ride. It's fun and builds up the story. Typically, this is something you only see at a Disney or Universal park. So when we saw the sizable buildings adjacent to the station during the ride's construction, we all had a hunch Fiesta would add something special in the queue line, and this ended up being not one, but 2 pre-shows. Dr. Diabolical is evil. I know, surprise surprise with a name like that. The first pre-show takes you into her lab, where she feigns being a good person. She appears on a few monitors across the room and promises riders a magical elixir from the Fountain of Youth. It sounds too good to be true, but 2 robot animatronics, yes, you heard that right, there are animatronics here, they further elaborate on this mystical liquid. The motion of the characters is admittedly limited, but having big props like that with some motion does a lot to the immersion. A bookshelf then reveals a secret passage into Dr. Diabolical's evil workshop. The cheery atmosphere suddenly switches to a dark and foreboding tone. Here, you learn the Doctor's true plans. She built a special machine to harvest human fear. She needs this to feed her creatures. Is the plot corny? Oh yeah, but the park goes all out so it works. This pre-show features 2 more animatronics and some jump scares as electricity loudly and visibly crackles from the extractors overhead. This room looks great too. You have a big tank and furnace with some screen effects. The machine overloads and the owl urgently tells everyone to escape while they can. The doors then open, but Dr. Diabolical says she has a newer and bigger extractor ready, aka the coaster itself. Even if this ride is a walk-on, you will experience the pre-shows, and honestly, you don't want to miss them, and no matter which line you pick, you will get to see them. The merge point is right before the pre-shows. The standby wait has a series of covered switchbacks. This is one of the park's more popular rides, but the line never seemed to be as long as that of Iron Rattler or Wonder Woman. And you have 2 ways to possibly bypass that outdoor wait if the wait backs up. First is the paid Flash Pass Skip the Line service. Right now, you can only skip this line once in the highest Platinum tier. I imagine the ride will be added more levels and the one-time restriction will be lifted as the ride ages. But you can also purchase single shots for roughly $15 or use your membership skips. 2. You have a single rider line. This is managed much differently than other parks I've been to, and I'm a bit worried it could be discontinued in the future because it seems very easy for groups to abuse. There's very little control over it. Usually single rider lines dump you off right in the station, and an attendant will direct you where to go to fill out empty rows. On Cliffhanger, the employees have a preset number of people that are allowed into the pre-show. They let single riders in based on this demand. On the bright side, this means you see the theming elements. On the downside, empty seats still go out. I know the intention is for every seat to be filled, but single riders blend in with everyone else during the pre-show, and they're free to go pick any row they want once they reach the station. Many choose to wait for the front, leading to empty seats in rows 2 or 3 going out. Cliffhanger is swift operations. The park had 2 trains in use during my visit, and stacking was not too common. In fact, there were points the crew was just waiting around for a train to return. They were that efficient. Fiesta owns 3 trains, and I think the crew could have handled a 3rd with ease. I'm not sure if they've ever run 3 in this ride, or if they keep the 3rd train exclusively for maintenance purposes, so the ride never has to go down to 1 in the off-season. There are 3 reasons for the fast dispatches. 1. There's a highly motivated crew. They work quick. 2. The restraints are easy to check. You have vest restraints with an exposed and redundant seatbelt. 3. No loose articles can be brought up to the station. This is a policy that has sped up operations at other parks like Universal and Cedar Fair. After the pre-shows, there's a free bank of double-sided lockers. I never needed to use this system since all my items fit in a zippered pocket, but this is a wonderful system for security and efficiency. I wish more parks would use this. The trains feature 3 rows. Each row features 7 riders, so the train oddly accommodates 21 riders per cycle. The smaller dive coasters like this always had 6 riders per row in the past, but B&M found a way to squeeze in an extra rider per row without changing the track gauge, so parks would be foolish not to take advantage of the added capacity even if it's a strange number in the end. When you reach the station, the front usually has 2 to 4 trains worth of people waiting. The other rows are typically walk-ons. I know most people prefer row 1 for the visual hanging over the edge, but I think this dive coaster is the best in back. The drops have extra oomph back there. One caveat though, there are 2 seats I would recommend avoiding on this coaster. You do not want to sit in the edge seats in row 3. These seats were rattly and caused me a minor headache. If you look at the trains, they're sort of set up as cantilevered arms, so the bounce is a similar sensation to the outside seats on a B&M wing coaster. I did not have this issue in row 1 or 2 in the edge seats, or any of the inside 5 seats in the back row. Just avoid those 2 specific seats if you want a more comfortable ride experience. In general, this ride is very smooth. There's only one part that doesn't track the best, and I'll get into that later. Then the vest restraints prevent any headbanging, not that there would be any. These hug your body. I know enthusiasts prefer the older over-the-shoulder harnesses because they offer more room for airtime, but I honestly don't have an issue with the vests. I still get all the airtime I could want from a dive coaster. Once dispatched, you climb the 150-foot or 46-meter tall lift hill. It is a steep and swift climb. At the top, you have a slow turn. You get a nice bird's eye view of the park, and then the music intensifies. As you approach the drop, Dr. Diabolical screams she needs your fear to power her creatures. You then hang over the edge thanks to the holding brake. Dr. Diabolical then shouts that your fear gives her life. My one gripe on repeat rides is that this audio spoils the exact moment you're gonna drop. I really wish there was a bit of a delay so the start of the drop was a bit more thrilling like the other dive coasters. However, that drop still is very good. This is one of the shorter dive coasters, but you still get some sweet airtime. Every row is sustained flagector airtime the whole way down, but it does have more of a kickin' back. The initial pop has more fervor, and you also get a stomach drop sensation right before you pull out. I wasn't quite sure if the extra 5 degrees would be palpable, but they did have a major impact. For one, the airtime was stronger than other dive coasters. 2, I got that tummy tickling sensation I rarely get on coasters nowadays. The visual of the angle itself didn't feel nearly as extreme as something like a Gerstlauer Eurofighter, but the sensations definitely were heightened compared to your usual dive coaster. After that floaty drop, riders are pummeled with positive Gs, and those forces are maintained as you ascend into the Immelmann. I wish B&M had more variety in the second element on a dive coaster, but at least it's a forceful maneuver. The twist out of it juxtaposes the positives with some faint float. Next is a 0G roll. You get good float on the inversion, which is the case anytime this element finds its way onto a dive coaster. It is so graceful. But the exit is uncharacteristic. After you return upright, there's this weird side-to-side shimmy. I cannot think of any other B&M where the train visibly shifts like this. It's super noticeable because of how slow you're going to. At least it doesn't cause headbanging, it's just odd to see. The following valley hits riders with a surge of positive Gs. Then you climb up into the mid-course. You may get a little lift in the front row, but nothing too noteworthy. You are then severely trimmed to a crawl. Halfway down the brake run, the audio returns. You have that booming musical score followed by Dr. Diabolical saying you have not given her nearly enough fear, and you need to scream once more. The second half kicks things off with a very steep plunge. You only get a pinch of airtime up front, but you get some good floater if you're in the back. The mid-course drop is not as tall as some other dive coasters, which is why you really need to be in the back to maximize it. You then cruise through a small turnaround. It is the dullest element on the ride by far. It doesn't really do anything from a force perspective, but the valley afterwards at least has some solid positive Gs. Then comes what was advertised as the Extreme Airtime Hill. It is a bunny hill with a super sharp crest. Enthusiasts were optimistic it would give powerful ejector airtime, but I'm going to pump the brakes. You are not going fast enough for that. However, the airtime is way different than what you normally get on a B&M. As opposed to a graceful floating sensation, you are bucked upwards. It's a quick pop more reminiscent of the airtime you get on those smaller Gravity Group wood coasters. It is a nice change of pace for this type of ride. You then have a low 360-degree helix. It is light on the forces, but it's banked 90 degrees to the side so you get some cool visuals. If you're on the right side of the train, it feels like you're going to smash into the ground. You then jump into the brakes, and if you're in the front row, you'll get an okay burst of airtime. You then smoothly come to a stop and return to the station, ending the 2,501 foot or 762 meter long coaster. In terms of pacing, this is on par with most of the other dive coasters featuring a mid-course. The first half is fast and fun, but the mid-course disrupts the flow, and the second half has a distinct lack of speed. But that's not unexpected for the genre. So what would I rate Dr. Diabolical's Cliffhanger? I would give this coaster an 8 out of 10. This is a good coaster turned into a great experience. The coaster's presentation and theming is fantastic. I cannot believe a large-scale thrill coaster at a Six Flags park features multiple pre-shows with animatronics, but here we are. I would love to see this type of effort put to the other parks in the chain, but I'm a bit skeptical because Fiesta has done this multiple times, while the other parks have not placed the same emphasis on theming. Then the coaster itself is solid too. That Beyond vertical drop is excellent, and I like most other elements too, most notably the two inversions. I don't know if this project is a one-off or not, but a dive coaster would really fit in quite well at a lot of the other Six Flags parks. Compared to the other dive coasters, I prefer some of the larger ones like Yukon Striker and Griffon, but I think it beats the other small ones based on the story and superior drop. As for how it compares to the other coasters at the San Antonio Park, I still prefer the two RMCs, without a doubt, but this is close to Superman for my third favorite in the park. Not a bad addition at all. So those are my thoughts on Dr. Diabolical's Cliffhanger, the new dive coaster at Six Flags Fiesta Texas. What are your thoughts on this coaster? How do you think it compares to the other dive machines? Let me know down in the comments. If you enjoyed this review, I would appreciate it if you gave this video a like, and you considered subscribing, because there'll be a lot more roller coaster and amusement park videos here at Canopy Coaster. Thanks for watching.